My name is Amy Willard, and I'm a senior nursing student at Liberty University. Today I'll be doing a speech on nursing and how it promotes God's value of human life. These are my roommates that will be watching. Okay. Nurses as a whole work approximately 11 billion hours during 1 year. They're assaulted more than prison guards, and they are injured more than construction workers. 1 out of every 5 emergency department nurses meets the criteria for post-traumatic stress disorder, all while saving lives. Nurses work in all different types of settings. This includes hospitals, schools, prisons, doctors' offices, and at some point you will probably come in contact personally with a nurse, or you will be in contact with one due to a situation with a relative or a family friend. Becoming an RN is a pretty challenging process. First, you have to go to nursing school, and nursing school is comprised of either a 2 or 4 year degree. Once you receive either your associates or bachelor's, you then go on to take state boards. Once you pass the NCLEX, you then can receive your certification to practice in a hospital. There's been research that has showed that nurses who attain their bachelor's and hospitals that hire more of those nurses, the morbidity rate goes down. So this is becoming the new standard for nursing schools. The Bureau of Labor Statistics states that the annual wage for a nurse was about $69,000. This was in the year of 2013. Sometimes this can vary drastically depending on the state that you practice in or the setting that you practice in. The BLS also indicated that the shortage of nurses will dramatically increase by the year of 2030. This is due to the up-and-coming baby boomer generation that is getting more elderly. They projected a need for about 525,000 replacement nurses in the workforce by the year of 2022. These projections show confirmation that nursing, along with other healthcare vocations, will be in great demand for the coming years. The purpose of this speech is to inform the audience of how nursing holistically promotes God's value of human life through physical care, spiritual care, and emotional care. I'm personally qualified to inform you of this topic because I'm a senior in the nursing student with about 600 clinical hours, and I'm also graduating in May with my bachelor's. I will now support my statement of God's value of human life through nursing by explaining the fulfillment of physical, spiritual, and emotional needs of patients in a nurse setting. First, nursing shows God's value of human life through taking care of our patients' physical needs. The motto of our nursing program at school is, "We are the hands and feet of Christ." This mission statement perfectly encompasses the essence of physical medical care as Christians when we serve our patients. We do everything that we physically can for our patient. We wait on them hand and foot in order to treat them and make them well. Luke 4:40 says, "At sunset the people brought to Jesus all who had various kinds of sicknesses, and laying his hands on each one he healed them." God is the great physician, and he commands us to help with the sick and needy as he did. As a nurse, we lay hands on our patients throughout our whole career in order to give them the best medical treatment that we can. This includes pharmacological intervention and drug therapy, as well as meeting other physical needs of our patients in order to help heal and provide comfort to them. Second, nursing shows God's value of human life through incorporating spiritual aspects into our nursing practice. According to an article from the Nursing Journal of India, the definition of healthcare includes complete physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. This aspect has been recognized with support from data as a part of nursing. This type of care leads to more satisfaction with patient treatment, and being an RN is an excellent profession to incorporate spiritual care with your patients. Although it's not something that needs to be pushed, the patients need spiritual connectedness. A personal example of this is when I was in the hospital my junior year. I treated a man who was about 60 years old, and he had stage 4 lung cancer. He was illiterate. He had only been educated up until grade 5, and he was very hard to understand. But the whole time I treated him, he was very tearful and upset, and I had a hard time understanding what he was saying. But at one point, he made me sit down in the chair next to him, and he was asking if I believed in heaven. The conversation that I then had with him just went to soothe his heart about his spiritual need and his terminal illness. Finally, in this profession, the last component of showing God's love of humans is emotional care of our patients. According to Carrie Dameron, an RN MSN, she wrote an article for the Journal of Christian Nursing where she discussed the essence of Christian nursing. She discusses the emotional part of nursing through therapeutic communication. In this type of communication, we learn how to listen, reflect, and guide our patients appropriately. This communication not only involves the patient, but the patient's family as well. It is the heart. It's the heart of nursing, and with Christ at the heart of that practice, communication then becomes an intervention. In order to adequately meet the emotional needs for our patient, nurses must be able to correctly identify emotions. A personal example of this was I cared for a transgender man who treated me poorly throughout my whole shift. I continued to love him and care for him throughout the whole experience, and he had a visit from his mother, after which he treated me a lot more poorly than he had been. I then asked him about how his visit with his mother went, and that it made him seem upset, and he began to break down, tell me how his mom was unsupportive of his lifestyle. And after the conversation we had, he began to treat me with kindness, and he agreed to participate in his physical therapy, which he had been refusing prior to that. Overall, this profession integrates many parts of care in order to aid in the healing of a patient. Physical, spiritual, and emotional needs all need to be met in order to holistically treat someone. And meeting these needs shows God's value for human life. As a nurse, it comes down to one thing: love. Loving your patients like God loves us is essential in giving the best care you're capable of.